Rotary is much more than a local charity doing good in our community. Our international efforts allow us to be part of a bigger movement to change the world, create cross-cultural understanding, and promote peace. Uh-oh, I have to do that too. Today, my goal is to highlight some of the extraordinary achievements of Midday Rotary that have come about only because we have the Rotary Foundation backing us up. You may choose to invest your philanthropic spending where you choose. I'm only planning to show you why Rotary Foundation would be one good option. Your TRF donations are invested well and spent wisely, so they'll do good in the world. 50% of your donations come back to be spent within our district at the end of 3 years. The Rotary Foundation consistently receives the highest rating, 4 stars, from Charity Navigator, an independent evaluator of charities in the U.S., for demonstrating strong financial health and commitment to accountability and transparency. Our foundation's annual fund helps pay for local and international grant projects. Contributions to the annual fund make our humanitarian impact possible. When you give to the annual fund, you help people like these young girls who only want a fair chance to stay in school and succeed. This $91,000 global grant is receiving $15,000 from District 4140, $20,000 from District 5240, $850 from District 5230, for a total of $35,850 in district-designated grant funds, which is matched 80% for another $28,680 in TRF funding. 70% of this $91,000 grant, the money is coming directly from the Rotary Foundation and from the donations that we have made over the past years. More than 2,000 girls will have their lives changed forever. So our foundation is dedicated to causes, or what we call areas of focus, that build international relationships, improve lives, and promote a more peaceful world. Our foundation funds projects that are proven by years of experience to have high and long-lasting impact. So when donors are asked why they support the annual fund, many people say because you get something back when you give. When you contribute to the annual fund, part of that gift comes available to our district and our district clubs to use however we want on foundation programs 3 years later. When you donate to the annual fund, for the first 3 years, your contribution is invested. The interest that it gains is used to manage the foundation so that we're not using any capital for operating expenses or running the foundation. At the end of 3 years, that money, 50% goes into a fund called the World Fund, and the World Fund, those funds are only to be used for Rotary Foundation grants. 50% of the money comes back to our district. 50% of that, which is 25 of the total, is only used for global grants, and the other 25% is used for district grants. District grants are smaller grants, more easy to achieve, a little less stringent, but all of our clubs in our district use that money up like that. We're one of the only clubs that really uses global grant funds. All of these projects and more have been funded through the Rotary Foundation Global Grant Program. I don't know what the amount is anymore, but I would guess at this point we're probably close to having brought in $1.2 million to our communities in San Miguel through our global grant process. This is another example. So this grant that just was approved, like last week, just approved last week, is going to change the face of deaf student education in Mexico. It's a vocational training team grant, and our local deaf school, which was founded by John Doherty and other Rotarians, is going to bringing in teachers from the United States to instruct deaf school teachers all through central Mexico on sign language and how to use sign language. And they're also going to be trying to build a dictionary, a sign language dictionary, which doesn't exist. So this grant is amazing. So you can see that $49,000 of this $75,000 grant, which is 60% or 65%, is coming from our contributions to the Rotary Foundation. So how does all this work? Rotary has a fundraising initiative called Every Rotarian Every Year. We like to call it E-RAY, E-R-E-Y. The idea is that if Rotarians give to the annual fund yearly, what the foundation can do will multiply. In 2021, ooh. I was thinking about how old you are, Mike. Donors who gave between $25 and $50 contributed more than $5.1 million to the foundation. So you don't have to give a lot to have a big impact. In that year, over $139 million were received in donations. 34% of all Rotarians support the annual fund as individual donors, and 82% of Rotary clubs worldwide support the annual fund. In the 2020-21, the foundation awarded more than 2,000 global grants. So let's look at how participating and giving to TRF is recognized on an individual and a club level. Sustaining members. Without sustained support of the annual fund, the programs of the Rotary Foundation cannot happen. Someone who contributes $100 or more to the annual fund every year is a Rotary Foundation sustaining member. For a Rotary club to be eligible for district and foundation funding, that club must donate $100 per capita to every Rotarian every year and $30 per capita to Polio Plus. We achieve this by some members giving more and others giving what they can comfortably give. Over 50% of the members in our club are sustaining members, and 60% donate to the Rotary Foundation every year. Rotary recognizes generous donors who give $1,000 or more to the annual fund, as Paul Harris Fellows. It's the foundation's best-known recognition for individual donors. This year, our club has 5 first-time new Paul Harris Fellows and 4 additional members who have reached the next level of Paul Harris Fellows. So you have Paul Harris Fellow 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 10. So for this year, thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Norman, Linda, Ronald 1, Ronald 2, John Palmer, Andrea, and Tom Snyder. The $1,000 can be given all at once or in several donations over time. Donors receive from the foundation 1 recognition point for every dollar they contribute. You can then use those recognition points to help another person achieve their Paul Harris Fellow or name a friend a Paul Harris Fellow. A Paul Harris Fellow receives a pin and a certificate, and then for each additional $1,000, they receive multiple Paul Harris Fellow recognition, so including a pin with the stones indicating how many times you've done this. So if you're interested in achieving your first Paul Harris Fellow, we have recognition points available that will match your cash donation to get you there faster. For example, if you donate $500 to the foundation, we will arrange for you to get 500 matching points will make you immediately a Paul Harris Fellow. So take advantage. Yes? It goes into the annual fund. So that's the money that goes into the annual fund and then comes back in 3 years and goes into the World Fund also. So it's, yeah, it's part of every Rotarian every year. And so. The offer is for people who are not Paul Harris Fellows so far. We have people like Greg, who actually became a Paul Harris Fellow this year on his own. So congratulations and thank you, Greg. The Paul Harris Society recognizes those generous donors who express their intent to give $1,000 each year to the annual fund, the Polio Plus or approved foundation grants. Paul Harris Society membership has grown from about 10,600 members in 2013 to more than 25 in 2019. It's also spread from 84 countries to 145 countries. In 2019-20, society members accounted for 20% of the total funds given to the annual fund. Ron Felton, Tom Snyder, and Norman Felstein are all Paul Harris Society members. So the clubs get recognized for their efforts in supporting the foundation as well. We have always been especially proud when we can achieve ERA, every Rotarian every year, and 100% Paul Harris Fellow goals. In 2012 was the first year that we, 2012 was the first year that we became a Paul Harris Fellow club, which meant that every member of the club was a Paul Harris Fellow at that time. And we've repeated that several times since then. We have gone from 28 members to 46 members this year, so we've got a big challenge ahead of us. But I'm sure Joe is going to make us a Paul Harris Fellow Club again in the next 12 months. Every Rotarian every year means that every member of your club gives a minimum of $25 to the Rotary Foundation. We have in our dues a certain amount of money set aside so that every member of the club can have that money donated in their name to the foundation. There are many ways you can make the donation to the foundation. You can join Rotary Direct, which is a recurring giving program. You can give online at rotary.org/donate. If you sign in using My Rotary, your donation will be already automatically connected to your account and credited to your club. You can donate to your club through Melody or Ron Felton. I think, Dorothy, did you bring? So Dorothy has some forms today. If you want to donate in cash, you fill out the form. Melody has the forms. Who has the forms? Somebody has the forms? There's forms. All right. So you can, if you prefer to donate through the club, you can do that through us. You can mail your gift to the foundation. And there's a new thing I don't know about, but it sounds interesting. It's called Raise for Rotary. And it's a new peer-to-peer fundraising platform to raise money for the annual fund, which I think would be fun for a lot of us to do so that we can achieve the $100 minimum or even more. As I mentioned, Rotary Direct is the foundation's recurring giving program. When you enroll in Rotary Direct, giving is easy, fast, and secure. You can personalize your giving schedule to accomplish your philanthropic goals and empower Rotary members around the world to change lives. Visit Rotary Direct to get started. 25% of our members give through Rotary Direct. You can set it up to give $10 a month or $25 a quarter or once a year, and you set it up to do whatever suits your giving goals. So no matter how you choose to give, I hope you'll support the foundation by donating to the annual fund this year. Gifts of any size have a big impact when they're put to use by our foundation. Thank you. Questions? Gary Peterson.
When you have achieved 100% all error, does that designation stay with you forever?
Forever and ever and ever. Once you've made it once. Which is sort of strange because we made it when we had 25 members and now we have almost 50, so we need to do it. For ourselves, we need to do it over and over again. Other questions?
Who do you talk to about moving the points from what you had to someone else? Where you got?
I'll volunteer Ron Felton. He'll help.
He's not here, so we can't say, thank you, Ron.
He's not even on Zoom, so. Now, Ron will help you, and any of us can help you do it, but Ron is going to be our club foundation chairman for next year. And so he's setting up and he's getting ready to, we've done sort of a lackluster job of promoting the foundation this year. I sort of forgot about it until this month. But we've had a good month. But next year Ron's going to do it, and he's going to do it consistently and help people achieve what they want. Kim.
How does a person, say my daughter is involved, she's a veteran, she's involved in a project, and I want her to somehow get involved with Rotary and, I don't know, come and present, not here necessarily, but where she lives. What's the first step a person takes?
Where is she?
She's in
Portland,
Portland, Oregon.
Oregon. Okay. So the question is Kim has a daughter who is involved in a project in Portland, Oregon, that she thinks would be benefited by becoming a Rotary project, and what should she do? So, do you have so what I would do, first of all, so she could come and tell us what she's doing, and we could go find a club in Portland and see if there was any interest in supporting it. That would be an option. Or she could go, you're welcome to go to any Rotary meeting anywhere in the world, and you can look on the Rotary International website and see when the different clubs in Portland meet, and there must be a bunch of them. And she could go to the clubs and just, as a visitor, and meet some people and talk about it. But yeah. All right. Jose.
Do you know any other clubs in the district that they have global grants?
There are a few, not very many. And our district has not done a good job with getting clubs to do global grants, which is good for us. So, I mean, we're getting $20,000 in district designated funds for global grants this year. And if we had more clubs in the district doing global grants, we wouldn't have that much money to get.
There's one in Puebla.
There's one in Puebla, okay.
For robotics for girls.
Robotics for girls, cool. There's a couple clubs in Guadalajara that do global grants. There's a club in Chapala that I know did one not too long ago. So there's some others.
Where do you think we rank in Mexico?
I would,
Global grant money.
at least in the top 5, I would guess. Yeah.
How does the Rotary Foundation handle their investments so that we get all that money back? I mean, how's it controlled?
Well, we have a foundation committee that makes decisions on where to invest and how to invest and things like that. And then the interest on the investments is what's to run the foundation so that we're not eating capital to do operating expenses. But where they invest and how they invest, I don't really know.
Do they do any kind of report on that?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, no, they have to have.
That would be interesting.
I'm sure it's very, very transparent. Yes?
What is the endowment? How much is it? Do you know?
I heard recently that the foundation is now worth about $2 billion. So that $2 billion is not $2 billion cash in hand. A good bit of it is like gifts, promise gifts. What is that? After you die, when you bequest. So a good part of that is bequest. We have 2 members of the club that belong to the bequest group, and one of them is Fred.
I was just about to say, I think you should mention to these people about not leaving their hard-earned estates to their greedy children.
Very good point. Fred is a member of the bequest, they call it Bequest Society, and I think Ron Felton is also, and I'm not sure there's anybody else. So, Melody.
A lot of the programs that we've done, projects that we've done, have been concerned with water. And currently, I don't know that we're re-upping those. Are we going to lose out? I know you got that we've gotten a lot of money through those grants. Are we continuing, or is there anything in the projects committee for continuing those particular grants?
Sure. So we started that's one of the areas of focus. It's called water and sanitation. And Laura Stewart started this program for us in 2008 with the help of Bob Leonard. And Laura started the first water harvesting project, and that was successful, and we did another one and another one and another one. And we've built 1,450 systems over the last so many years. And then through that water and sanitation project, the beneficiaries began asking us for dry composting, began asking us for toilets, because a great deal of the rural communities practice open defecation, not by choice, it's because they don't have anywhere else to go. So then we started doing dry composting toilets, and we built on that. And then our Girls Empowerment Project is actually considered a water and sanitation project too. That project is going to grow and go over and over again. The toilets are extremely popular, and people, it gives them dignity, and it gives them hope, and it gives them a path out of poverty. So that's really good. Rainwater harvesting has not been as much demand for the last couple of years. Part of that is due to the pandemic. We used to have community assemblies where various communities would get together and talk about this, and we haven't been able to have assemblies. So we've lost some of the waiting list.
Is that from the COVID?
Yeah, COVID. Yeah, we had to stop having assemblies. So.
But is there any movement to re-up those things? And who would do that?
So our partner is SEDESA, and they've always been SEDESA, and SEDESA is a community development organization that does amazing work. Things have slowed down for them in recent years for various reasons, and it would be very hard for us to do this on our own, because they have the trust of the communities, and they bring the communities together. But we'll do more. We're not finished, we're just slower.
So since in our projects you have to have a cistern before you can have a toilet, are you going to continue that same?
Probably not. Probably not. So it's an amazing project, because it's not like a single, you don't just sign up to have a cistern or a toilet, but you have to get involved in a process. And so a family that wants to get a cistern, let's say, they join their local community, grassroots community organization, which consists of 8 or 10 or 12 communities. And they get involved with backyard gardening, homeopathic remedies, transformation, beekeeping. They start getting involved in doing all these projects, working as teams, and at some point they come to the top of the waiting list for a cistern, and then they get their cistern. And then they continue to stay involved and continue to work as teams over more years, and at a later point they become, the way the system is now, at a later point they become eligible for the toilet. So this keeps them involved in it, and they are transforming their lives through their own work over these years. And so we don't just do a single project and walk away. We try to design it so that they stay involved and they transform themselves. We're not transforming them, we're just sort of supporting them, and they transform themselves and their families and build better lives.
So to be clear, we are not sunsetting any program.
Not that I'm aware of.
Sunsetting means go away.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't.
Joe says no.
So,
There we go. At the most recent inauguration that we did was the first time that I'd received an application for someone who, in a community that wanted some rainwater catchment systems. We haven't had that because
You had two, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah, there were
we got
two.
a couple. And we haven't had that because of COVID. Nobody we wouldn't have had those contacts. So like what Lee said, we still have money in those programs to continue to do them. And because of what SEDESA's got going, and it's just slowed down a little bit. I mean, there was a time we were building cisterns like, there was 5 or 6, 7 going in a week. And the money was there, the demand was there. The demand has dropped, but the money's still there. So we're going to continue to do those projects. They're not going away. But we also see a transition with how the government's getting involved and how they've finally become aware of the fact that there's an issue with the water. So we're going to see maybe some pushback a little bit with the government, what we try to do and what they try to do. Ours is based on education. Theirs is based on, let's give them all
Votes,
this.
getting votes.
That's it. So our program has shown sustainability, and that's what we're going to continue to work on.
Yeah. So we'll spend out the rest of the money in our current cistern grant this year, I'm pretty sure. But we do have, like Joe said, we've got other people that are starting to show interest. So we did like $6,000 grants and $12,000 grants, and then we did $30,000 grants and $60,000 grants, and now we do $220,000 grants. So maybe the next grant won't be $220,000, maybe we'll go back to a $60,000 grant. And that's fine, because you can do them over and over and over again.
Is there any way we can support SEDESA? And what's the other? There's two, COSERA?
Yeah, there's COSERA, which is in San Miguel. It's the Rural Council for Water. There's UCAM, which is in Dolores, which is the Union Campesino Agua Northern Guanajuato, for Northern Guanajuato. There's a group over in San Luis de la Paz. There's a group in San Diego Union that we work with. And we've been working with a group up in San Felipe. So there's actually 5 different of these grassroots organizations and they manage their projects. We don't decide who gets cisterns. They tell us, okay, we've got 100 people on the list, and these 10 are the next ones in line. And that's it's their program. It's not ours. So. Yes, sir.
Excuse me. Yeah, from Lexington, Joe Bark. Anyways, is it still possible to donate 500 points from your account and the club would match that with the other 500 points?
To get Paul Harris Fellows?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I will do that. Let's do that.
Okay.
I'll send you the paperwork.
That'd be amazing.
Thank
That
you.
would be huge for our club. Thank you.
You've got lots of points.
Well, thank you. Congratulations on your support of the foundation.
Well, today, I might just say the foundation is one of the few charities which has 4 stars on Charity Navigator, and it is honored by all the big guys who, have a lot of points and have a lot of money. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you have
That's
money
not
that
me.
you want to give to to charity or philanthropy, there's hardly a better place where you can put your money that you know that it'll have real impact that lasts for a long time. So, okay, we are done. Thank you.